What's up everyone, Criddle here, and I want to talk about my XP farm, my gold farm, all the things that I farm. I've been asked quite a bit about how I level up each of my characters, and I do have quite a bit of them. And so, you know, I've been leveling up all my characters, I've been leveling up the weapons. I've got a level 24 mastery right now, trying to level up all of those things. So there's the XP side of it, but then also it costs a ton of gold that you need to get, and a lot of Kuiper to start leveling up these weapons and unlocking them and all of that kind of stuff. So people are constantly asking me, hey, Criddle, where do you farm? What's the best farm? That kind of thing. So a lot of the videos out there are going to talk about going and doing the bunny farm. This is a very good XP farm. You can go here to the fortress and then you swing by or back around right over here into a cave. This is the bunny cave. Great for just XP. You can go over here to the Valby farm. A lot of people are still doing that even after the nerf, which is good for just gold. And another really big one right now is the Echo Swamp. Right here going into the abandoned refinery, also very, very good for just gold, but not so great for other things. So in my opinion, if you want to be able to get all of those things, you want gold, you want XP, you want Kuiper, you want to get amorphous materials, you want to get shards to be able to open up those amorphous materials at the fusion reactors, all of that kind of stuff, you want to go here to the special operations. Now, if you're just wanting to get gold, some of those other farms might be better if you just specifically want that, but I find that you're going to need to have more than that. So I'm not going to just say, hey, come here, do the special operations. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one of these because I have spent a lot of time on each of these different missions. First thing I'm going to say is these Defend Albion Resources missions are usually not the best to do. They do take about an hour each to do. And they do net a little bit more gold. You're probably going to get anywhere from 1 million to 2 million gold in total. That includes the marks of unrest that you're going to be getting, and you're going to get somewhere between 100 and 200 of each of the shards. Plus, you're going to be getting an amorphous material or two, and maybe even, if you get lucky, you might even get some of these shape stabilizers. But that's pretty much what you're going to get out of these. I don't necessarily recommend doing those, but you might want to do those just to get the journal entries here, because under awards, you do have, you know, the going into Kingston, doing all of those missions. At least, I think some of them are 5 times, some of them are 10 times. It just depends on which one it is. But you have to do each of these up to the first break point, which is, you know, wave 2 or maybe wave 7 or whatever it is. So if you want to get all of that stuff done, you can just do every one of these missions. But like I said, I don't recommend doing these. Also, the fortress is probably the most difficult of all these missions unless you have a very strong team that is working together. I've rarely in a pug made it through wave 7 in this, or 6 or 7 or whatever it is. It's much more difficult than any of the other ones. I do prefer to do Sterile Lands over White Knight Gulch. These two are probably the best to do. The Sterile Land takes about 10 minutes. The problem with these missions over these other missions here, the Agna Desert, Vespers, and Hagios, is that you have to go to each of the little mining locations. So to get the most out of each one of these, you do have to run, I believe this one has 5 different locations you have to go to. And you need to run around and pick up all the gold, all of the drops that you see everywhere. If you don't pick those up, you will not net the most amount of money that you can possibly get. But if you have a pretty good team, a couple of bunnies or maybe a Valby or something, you can get this mission done in as few as 10 minutes. Sometimes it takes about 15 minutes depending on your team. And you're going to net anywhere from 300 to 600,000 gold. Plus you're going to be getting probably 2 to 4 of those marks of unrest. Hopefully you get one that's worth 1 million gold. I wouldn't say you're going to get one every time because you're definitely not, but you should get 2 to 4 marks of unrest on average doing this mission. White Knight Gulch takes a little bit longer, so I would say 15 to 20 minutes each time, and the reason for that is because the points are much more spread out and you have to jump over these giant chasms or go all the way around the chasm if you can't jump over those and use your grappling hook. But it does net a little bit more, about the same amount of gold and XP, but you're going to net a little bit more of the fragments or the shards that you're going to get for the reactors. So if you are specifically going for more shards and you're not worried about the gold as much, I would say White Knight Gulch over Sterile Land. But if you just want a little bit of everything, I would say Sterile Land is fine. And then you have Vespers, Agna Desert, and Hagios. These 3 are very similar. I would say that Agna Desert is probably the best, but it's also the most difficult. It's not super hard by any means. However, it is a much smaller area, so when mobs spawn, they spawn right on top of you, and you could get a lot of big machine gun wielding guys that just mow you down very quickly. So be prepared on this one, especially in the later waves, that it's going to get a little bit tougher. The Hagios and Vespers, these two are a little bit easier, but they are spread out a little bit more. So it does take a little bit longer to do these, but you can get all three of these done in approximately 20 minutes. I would say that the Hagios and Vespers might take you an additional 1 to 2 minutes overall than the Agna Desert. I just like to do the Agna Desert because everything is kind of jammed together and it's easier to go and pick up all the stuff that drops. But I would say that if you're just starting out, maybe just do the Vespers, Hagios, kind of get used to it, go into Sterile Land, get used to that one, and then maybe try out these other two and see if those work for you. And if they do, great. If they don't, then stick to whichever ones work. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That's where I do most of my farming. I do get a lot of amorphous materials out of these. So, you know, once you start farming these, you're going to start seeing a ton of these amorphous materials. I actually had about 70 or so of each of these earlier today, but then I went through a bunch of them. And the good thing about it is you can actually get the energy activator from this one, and you can get a crystallization catalyst from this one, which are something you're going to be farming a lot of anyway. So you have a chance of getting all of those. And that those specifically are from the Sterile Land, and I get anywhere from 1 to 2, sometimes you can get up to 3 of those. You could potentially get up to 5 of those in a single Sterile Land run, but the chances are pretty low that you would get that. But I usually get 1 or 2 per run, and it takes about, like I said, 10 minutes. Anyway, hopefully this helps. If it does, please like, subscribe, follow, all that kind of stuff, and come on over to the Twitch channel where I do stream daily. We can play some games together and just kind of hang out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.